Hello, this is Helen Yancy again, and this is part 3 of our introduction to painting a photograph with Corel Painter. We have already cloned our image from our clone source. Our clone source is baby Clara, and you can see that Painter is so smart that it has retained that image in the background. But I have tracing paper on top because I have used Quick Clone under the File menu. Rather than just straight clone, I've used Quick Clone so that I have tracing paper on top my image. The colors I'm going to use to paint this image for this very, very basic introduction to painting a photograph are going to be the colors from the image itself, which means any color that or any paintbrush that I pick or select, I am going to click this little stamp in the color tab so that I'm always painting with the color that's in the image. Now, that doesn't mean I have to. I can paint with any color I want to, but to get you started, this is a good way to start. So we have our image cloned, and let's talk about colors for a minute. For you that are just starting with color and with painting, you need to know that your outside wheel or circle is every color in the spectrum. Whichever color you pick or select in that circle is going to be the color that's in the triangle. So over here on the right side of the triangle is pure unadulterated color. Over here is black. In the top of your triangle is white. Everything in between is either white added to the color, black added to the color, or black and white, which grays down your color and mutes it. You need to keep in mind that the very action of painting digitally diffuses color anyway. So you want to, when you're using your color without the cloning color or without the photograph, you want to keep it out of the gray as much as possible because it's too easy to make gray anyway. So when we're starting out with baby Clara, where I will tell you, normally I work in layers, and you don't have to work in layers when you're just cloning. However, I'm going to work in a layer this time to show you what the cloning brushes are doing. So we're going to add a layer. I have my layers tab open. My background layer is called canvas in Painter. That's where the picture is. That's where the image is. I'm going to add a layer so that I can show you how Painter works. The brush I'm going to select to get started is going to be in the oils category, and it's called Smeary Round. And the very first thing I do when I select any brush is click on the Reset tool. The Reset tool will put the brush back into its default. And I always like to start in default so that I can change it if I wish to, but I can depend on the brush being exactly where Painter planned it on being, or if I design a brush, exactly where I designed it to be, and then I can change it from there. So Smeary Round defaults into a 31 size brush, 100% opacity. Feature, which is how many hairs of the brush are visible, is 4.7. Reset means resaturation. And because the reset in this brush is 7%, that means it's a low reset. And these hints that come up when you hover over it are just amazing. I don't care how long you've been working with Painter, you forget things, and there's so much to remember. I find these are very helpful to me. So this will tell you what each control up here in your controls property bar is going to do. Bleed in this brush is at 100%. When bleed is higher than resaturation, more color bleeds than covers, so the stroke never reaches full opacity. Now, isn't that good to know? When this is low and this is high, that means the brush is never going to be super, super strong. Okay, so now I have already started a custom palette. And here's my custom palette, and it's got smeary round in it. It's got captured bristle in it. If I were going to add another brush, and I want to just show you how to do that, let's pick, what shall we pick? Detail Oils brush. I'm going to hold my finger on the shift key, and that's first. Shift key first, click and drag. And I can drag it right, I can drag it out here and make a new custom palette. If I let go, that's what'll happen. Or I can drag it in here and it will be part of my custom palette. Right now it's in dab format. It's in gray because my color is kind of gray. If I hover over it, normally it's going to show color. It's not doing that right now. If I do hold my finger on the control key, I can put it in text view, and that way I can read it, which is very nice. I like to read it. You can have it either in text view or dab view, either one. You get that choice when you hold your finger on your control key. See, right now it's in icon view. And I can make it in a big icon view or a small icon view. I prefer, for me, the text view. So I have a custom palette started. Now I will tell you, you need to save your custom palette with a name if you want to have it when you open your program again. Because if you crash, God forbid, if you crash, your custom palette won't be there anymore if you don't save it. That is Window, Custom Palette, Organizer. And right now it says Custom 1. I can rename it, and I'm going to name it Baby Clara. I could name it anything I want. I could name it oils. I could name it watercolor. I can name it anything I want. But right now I'm going to name it Baby Clara, and then I will know that those are the brushes that I used in this particular painting. Now hopefully that's saved. The next thing I'm going to do is go back to my smeary round brush, and I'm going to click the little rubber stamp in the color wheel. Let's use now on our new layer, let's use smeary round in with the clone color from the original image, and let's take a real good look at how Painter works when we clone. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so you can see. Now I have a big brush, smeary round, on a layer. It is painting with the image. It is completely painting with the image. All the color that will show now is from the image. I want you to see. And you can see there the hairs of the brush, which is lovely. And by showing you this way, whether you decide to paint on a layer or just paint your image without a layer, this way you can see what you're doing and see what you're not doing. And the big risk is always that you're going to leave a hole in your painting where it's photograph and pores of the skin are showing through like it would in a photograph and would never show in a painting. There's no painting of a portrait where every pore of the skin is going to show. But with using this method with the cloning tool and on a layer, I can see if I miss something. I can see where I've been and where I'm going. Now this is a big brush for the big areas and the big planes of the face. But obviously I need a smaller brush when I do detail. Smaller brush for detail, big brush for the big areas. That way you don't have to fix lines. And for instance, if we were going to do the hair, I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. I'm going to increase the reset to make it, excuse me, stronger, and a little bit more of the hairs of the brush. But remember, with real painting and real paints, you don't want to see every hair of the brush. But it's so sweet to do the hair this way, and watch how nicely that works. And I can do just as much or as little of the hair if I want. I can bring over some of this color here and get rid of some of that hair that sticks out, but I can paint all that sweet little hair without making her look like she's 14 years old instead of a tiny baby. I'm just stroking the way the hair grows. Follow the information that your photograph gives you, and you can't go wrong. And by using a layer, I can always tell what I've done and what I haven't done. Because baby Clara has an ear that's sticking out on one side that I really wish it wasn't, I'm going to push some of that color from the blanket over, and I can do that. Now, if I were really working hard at cloning, that ear would continue to show up. Right now it's just softening, and that's okay. Now, I have to remember myself that I adapted this brush, and right now it's got a whole lot of hairs of the brush. Do I want that on her face? I don't think so. So I'm going to put the brush back the way it should be in its default, and then click on the little rubber stamp so that I can work on the rest of her face and on her skin without too many lines from hairs of the brush. And I can use a detail brush to do the details on her nose and her eye and that sort of thing.